10,000 students are studying here. We have the strong support of our president, Vijay, Shri Vijay Jadhav. Then our inspiration is always executive president Balkrishna Kale, and the supporter, strong supporter is the Dr. Ashok Jadhav. So uh, with their support, I'm hosting this webinar on, on the occasion of celebrating International Biodiversity Day 2020. Uh, I would like to tell you the objectives of this workshop. Now, all are suffering from the pandemic COVID-19, and all are safe at home, staying safe at home, and we are in lockdown. And so suddenly it is unprecedented for us to stay at home, the sudden, and our university and UGC said work from home. It was all new for us, for teachers as well as for students. So we started learning about how to teach students online. So that this struggle started. And with this struggle, I also started learning the things, and the idea came into mind, why not to implement? That is the outcome of this, taking the opportunity of celebrating International Biodiversity Day, holding. And this year in 2020, the Biodiversity Day is set up for the celebration is set up for the 5-day long period, and the different themes are given for the every day. So one of the objective is that just to try whether it is how effective it is, or how we can utilize our potentials as learning the new things. As a teacher, all of us, we learn the new things, and we always succeed in that, and then we teach, we are capable of teaching the students. So at this point, this is also one of the objective was holding this happen. So there may be the some many lacunae in this, so I apologize for that, because this is without any technical background. I'm also at home like you, and I'm hosting this from home. Now we'll start with today's webinar. The topic I kept it with the simple. It is divided into just two parts. One is just the introduction, why we are celebrating the Biodiversity Day, what is the history behind it, and the second part is the impact. Now, coming to this, this uh, Convention of Biodiversity, it is the okay. Can you hear me now? I'm audible. Yeah. Okay. In 1992, the Rio Earth Summit, that is the first, which was very significant. Prior to 1992, and all over the world, this the Cold War is going on for using the various resources of the biodiversity. Every country was hoarding the resources on their own way, and then the realization came to the UN that need for uh, uh, framing certain policies for the combat the climate changes, and a result of that was the Earth Summit. So it is 1992 Earth Summit is very significant. So the outcome of this summit is divided into the three parts basically. The one is taking care of the climate change, second one for the sustainable development, and the third one is the biodiversity. So we will be focusing mainly on the biodiversity. The climate change for the protocols were added. There is a Kyoto Protocol and Copenhagen Protocol. Sustainable development, under that the Agenda 21 and Rio Plus 20. These are the protocols which came forward for the sustainable development. Under biodiversity, what we have to look for, it's important is that the first one is the Cartagena Biosafety Protocol. Then later on, the Nagoya Genetic Resources Protocol. And the third one, which is the Aichi targets. So we will be focusing mainly on the biodiversity. Yeah, so just we'll look at the timeline of the Convention of the Biodiversity. The first, that is in June 1992, there was a Earth Summit, which was a Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and it was adopted. The Earth adopted the convention. The convention was enforced on 29 December 1992, and therefore, the initially this international International Biodiversity Day was used to be celebrated on in the December till 2000. The later on it has changed, and now we are celebrating in the May when we signed this. At the first it was drafted. So the convention actually was enforced on 29th December, but it was drafted in on today's date, that is 22nd May. So that is the relevance why we are celebrating is it has changed. It changed from the 2000. The reason is that for the in December, 29 December, there's a Christmas vacation and lot of vacations are there. So the people are not able to celebrate it properly, and the awareness program could not be run properly. So therefore, it has shifted from December 1990 from 2000. We are celebrating it on 22nd May. Now, in November 1994, the first conference of parties meeting, which is called as the COP1 was held. Then the another milestone is the November 2001, the first Global Biodiversity Outlook was published. Then in 2010, it is very important year because it framed the strategic plan for the biodiversity, and which was very ambitious plan where we adopted the Aichi targets. The Aichi target, and this plan was a for 10 years plan was framed over there. And now the next coming COP is to be held in 2020. So it is for the post plan or after the 2020, because now we are at the end of this strategic plan, which was planned for the uh, 2011 to 2020. Now, what is Convention on the Biodiversity? It is the Convention of Biological Diversity. It was drafted, as I said, on 22nd May and signed in June, and it is enforced on 29th under Earth Summit. It is the international agreement which has got the legal binding on all members, and it is the United Nations Conference on the Environment and Development that is it's drafted. It is now it has got its secretariat, how it functions, the objectives of it. We'll see the objectives and how it functions. The objectives, there are three main objectives of the uh, Convention on Biological Diversity. First one is conservation of the biological diversity. The diversity is just in existence that you need to conserve, and how various modes of conservation, how they are to be implemented. That is the main first goal. Second objective is sustainable use of the components. You know, that is we all use the resources, and these resources should be used in sustainable manner. So the in future, the coming uh, uh, generation should be able to use them. So we have to use this in sustainable manner. Then third objective is equitable sharing of the benefits that arise out of the utilization of genetic resources. So that is, biodiversity is nothing but it is the diverse genetical species, and we are utilizing the resources, and from that whatever utilization is done, that has to be shared equitably and the benefits should be uh, shared equitably. This all we know what is biological diversity. It is the from all the sources, all the variety in simple words, all the variety existing on this globe is can be simply in the simple language can be called as the biological diversity. It will include all the sources from whether it's terrestrial, marine, aquatic ecosystem, all ecological complexes, genetic variety, genetic diversity, species diversity, ecosystem diversity, all everything will be included in it. So it is the diversity which exists within the species, diversity which exists between the species, and the diversity which exists within the ecosystems. Now the structure of CBD, the first one, it is has a secretariat which is located in the Montreal. Uh, then it has got the governing body. The governing body is the conference of parties, and that is it is the governing body COP held different meetings and for framing the policies, take the review the things. The secretariat is the coordinating all the activities. Then you have the last one is the technological scientific advisory body, which is your SBATTA. So this technological, it is the advisory body which advises, uh, uh, which give the advices and frames the structures, give the advices for the from. It is a scientific body which is giving the advisory body. Next one is that is the Cartagena Protocol of Biosafety. Now, uh, we have done a lot of development in the science and technology. So uh, we know that uh, what is DNA, what is genes, everything has been as with the development of the knowledge of or development and acquiring the knowledge on this front. The scientists have become capable of manipulating the genes, transferring the genes from one organism to other organism. So this is creating the transgenic animals and gene modified organisms. Then there are living modified organisms, as well as maybe the dead modified organisms where the genes are manipulated or the modified. So while we are handling this and we're putting this in the environment and open to the environment, at that time the safe handling is required, because it may pose a problem for the environment. It will contaminate the native genetic diversity, the natural genetic diversity of the environment will be polluted. It may have the harmful effects on the health of the population also. So all this had to be considered, and this modern biotechnology, whatever the genetic modifications are doing and releasing the modified plants or animals in the environment, for that the biosafety measures are required. And for this Cartagena protocol deals with this biosafety, and it has framed the policies that regarding how to handle this genetically modified plants or the LMOs. It was adopted on 15th May of 2000 and enforced on 11th September 2003. Their parties, are 172 parties signed it. Now the next comes, that is the Nagoya Protocol and access and benefit sharing. So these genetic resources, we not only modify them, we export them, we sell them, we are gain profit from them. And while doing that, that is when we are accessing them, the benefit sharing has to be done in an equitable manner. The benefits which are arising out of that, and that is in the Nagoya Protocol. So it was adopted 29th October 2010. So this 29th October 2010, 2000 year is also the a very important year, uh, because the later on it also set the targets for the one decade, that is 2011 to 2020. The parties which are concluded is 120. So this Aichi targets there are the different 10 target, 20 targets were set, and they had the 5 strategic goals. And fulfillment of all or achieve these targets are have given the deadline to achieve these targets till 2020. From 2011 to 2020, the goals were set up for the achievement. The first goal is that is to address the causes of biodiversity loss. So first strategic goal is that first find out what are the causes of the biodiversity loss. Then the second one, that is that reduce the pressure and promote the sustainable use. So there are a lot of pressure at different places for while utilizing this biodiversity or utilizing these resources. These pressures, particularly in the coastal area where the fishing is done, or you have the land bringing under the cultivation for the forests are cleared off. So these pressures are to be removed, and to we have to think of how the sustainable use can be done of these resources. The third one is safeguard the ecosystem and species and genetic diversity. So this is the biosafety, genetic diversity, and that you have to safeguard ecosystems and species and genetic diversity. Next goal is the biodiversity benefit to all. So that is for biodiversity is everywhere all over the goal. So the benefit should be given to all. And we have in our country we have got the traditional knowledge, so that has to be protected also. So then participatory planning and capacity building. The final is that while implementing this, you have to plan a participatory planning has to be done and capacity building has to be done properly. And all these goals for that, the one complete decade, 10 years were given for achieving this goal. Uh, and it was the end of that uh, target policy. So now with this background, we know that what the CBD has done, framed different policies, and it has come out with the very ambitious goals, which are come to the end at 2020. And unfortunately now when the the decade is ended, we are now in the pandemics, we are suffering from the COVID-19, and we are in the lockdown. So what is the impact on the biodiversity? This is the main topic, we'll see on it. Now the first one, please mute your audio. Now, as we have seen, the CBD has come up with the very ambitious goals, and that is ended now. And what are the reports are there? These reports are to be now supposed to be ready for, and it has to be prepared for the next meeting, that is COP15, which is to be held in October 2020. So CBD COP15, which is to be held in planned in the coming Yunnan in China. So this is now postponed because of this pandemic. That is the first effect. So the effect will be that we are now all busy in saving the lives of the humankind which are suffering from this pandemic. uh, and, and under this situation, that we will not be able to uh, look out the biodiversity. It will, and even many of the meetings which are related to these meetings, many of them they are either postponed, or some of the meetings, that is preparatory meetings for this COP15, that are they have taken virtually. So many meetings are cancelled, they are either postponed or they are taking place virtually. So this is the first impact of the biodiversity. Now, the what is the significance of the COP15? That, as I said, it is the decade 2011 to 2020 is now completed. Now the review. The CBD has to take the review the things, what are the achievements, which goals are fulfilled, which are remaining, and accordingly they have to frame the policy for the next upcoming 10 years. So they have to have the strategic plan for the biodiversity of the next 10 years. This COP15 will address the series of issues which are related to implementation of the convention and its different protocols. It will take the review and the what are the issues, which goals have not completed, and then if they are not completed, what are the reasons. This discussion will be there, and accordingly the next policy to achieve the certain targets again will be framed up. So then final decision has to be taken on the post 2020 global biodiversity framework, which is to be taken, and this again the plan is for the next 10 years. Now, decisions related to the topics, including capacity building and resource mobilization, all these topics are very significant topic, and these are supposed to be discussed in the COP15. Now, this COP15 is postponed for the time for the time being, and now because of that, all the things are hanging. Now, why this 2020 year is significant from the point of view of the biodiversity? Because this is, as I said, this is the final period for the Aichi target achievement, that is 2011 and 2020, the strategic plan, which we have done in the Aichi biodiversity targets. And this is the end of that plan now, and we have to set it for the new plan and the frame the new targets and decide taking the review of the previous decade and set the new policies for the next coming years. Many of these targets and many of the countries are not able to fulfill it or achieve it. So that is to be, the review has to be taken, and it is required, and then only the next policy can be framed up. Okay, the UN decade of the ocean science and sustainable development, and the UN decade on the ecosystem restoration, that would be the next decade, which would be framed for the 2130. Now, with this is the first impact. That is the COP15 is postponed. Related other meetings are also postponed, or they are in air. Some of them they are conducted. That is advisory technology meeting has been conducted virtually. Then some workshops are also conducted. But still yet the COP15 meeting date is not fixed. It is just postponed indefinitely. Now the impact on the climate. Now the next we will see what is the impact. As we know that is we are all in lockdown, everything stands still. So the industries are shut down. There is no transportation. So that has uh, impacted positively on the climate. But all of us, we know this will be the temporary effect. But still, to look at this, the first one, air quality. So we can see the air quality, look at the difference. This is the New Delhi. So the particulate matter, you can see on your left hand side, it is so hazy. This is the general the in Delhi atmosphere is seen, but now the atmosphere has become very clear. Sky you can see very clear. So the particulate matter has been reduced due to the reduction in the transportation. The almost 60% air flights have been stopped and reduced, and the other transportation is also reduced. The second impact is on the industry, that is industries and the traffic, that is the vehicular traffic has been. So you can see all the roads are empty, and it is clear. This is the various pictures from the um, uh, various places in the Bangalore, Mumbai, Orissa, and other places. The third is that is you have find the environment, the carbon emission shows the 3% dip, and that because of the vehicular transport stoppage. So this is in different countries. You can see the carbon emission. In China, 18% reduction is seen. US it is 7.5% reduction. Italy it is 27%, and UK it is 48% reduction in carbon emission has been observed during the period of pandemic. Now the next one, that is the overall drop in the nitrogen dioxide level. This is again the impact of the vehicles, the emission from the vehicles. So you can see in India and various cities. So dotted lines are indicating the before lockdown announced, and whereas the dark line of the graph indicates you the position which is how it is lower down. Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, Kolkata, and Bangalore, in every city, the nitrogen dioxide emissions from just in the month of March, the reduction is observed. Please mute your audio. Please mute your audio. This is the satellite image taken by the NASA. This is showing you over the China in January and February. The differences you can see very clearly that this is in January and this patch is very completely cleared and sorry. So this is the patch for the nitrogen density. So the reduction in the nitrogen density, nitrogen dioxide density is seen, and so that is also the impact on the environment, which subsequently is having the impact on the ozone layer. So, but it will be temporary effect, will not be prolonged. Again, will come. Will come back to our regular activities again, and again it may grow up. Yeah. Now these are the certain examples, that is the human wildlife conflict. These are appeared in the media. Some of them are certainly myth, or some of them are true, but we'll see that is the impact, that we can see the number of wildlife in various cities coming on the roads and has been observed or the spotted. So this is the impact, that is the cities which have encroached or spread near to the forest areas or in the woodland areas there at the borderline, because the city was completely quiet, no pollution, no noise pollution. So these wild animals, they freely roam in the cities and have been spotted because of that. So in it is you cannot call it as a wildlife, it is urban wildlife, which is the result of the human wildlife conflict, because encroachment of the human in their territory, and when the human activity suddenly stopped, they took the advantage of that, because the noise pollution is reduced, and they have been spotted in the city areas. These are the mallard dogs which are seen in the Colette in Paris. Then the mountain goats have been observed in the Wells town, whereas here you can see the monkeys have been observed in the Allahabad, uh, just at the outskirts of the city. Then this is the civet, which is observed in Kozi, Kerala. But the civet was not roaming. Actually, this was injured and it was ailing, and that it has been spotted in the Kozhikode, Kerala. Thus, on March 24, leopard entered in the school, and it is in Rudraprayag, Uttarakhand. So this is again, you will find that as the human wildlife conflict, our encroachment in their territory has been, it is the main reason for this. Now, the certain, again, the one of the positive impact has been observed in the uh, certain species. The endangered olive ridley turtles. These turtles have been observed in 4 lakh turtles have been observed in masses in the March month, and they come there for the mass nesting usually. But in last year, due to the Titli storm, they were not spotted. So this year, they have spotted, and about 4 lakh individuals have been spotted, and they come here for the mass nesting and the Gahir Mata Beach and the Rokis and the Rushikulla in Odisha. They have also been spotted in the Goa. They also do the nesting in the Brazil also. So now these species is the endangered species, and the 50% of the world population has been diminished almost, and even in the hatching, the only one or two uh, mm, successful hatching in 1,000 eggs has been seen. Uh, the female matures after 20 years, and they do the nesting in 7 years. So such species has been observed in the Odisha as well as in many of the Goa beaches. The second, we see that the increased flamingos in the Mumbai. In Mumbai, in Nerul region, the mm, many of the flamingos, they come during this period only, and this year the 25% increase has been observed in the population. So 25% increase is observed. The 1.5 lakh flamingos have been reported, visited. They first visit the run of Kutch or maybe the Sambar Lake in the Rajasthan. They come there from the Pakistan area, and then from there, from run of Kutch, they fly to the Navi Mumbai, generally from the duration September to May or April. Now the impact on the career in conservation. Now conservator as taking a career. Uh, as we are from the academic field, we know all academicians, we are struggling for online classes, taking online classes or from work from home. But conservation career is a different. Conservative just cannot work online. They have to complete the field work. They have to train themselves for the field trips. Their practical based uh, uh, academics are there, and these because of this pandemic, during this pandemic, the conservation career is affected lot and negatively. Now this is the duration where the new postings or the new recruitments have been done. uh, it's the end of the academic year, and so the for the new course starting, the entrances and the test and the training will also start for during this period only. So this in April 2020, the conservation jobs and internship opportunities have lost, and it has dropped by the 50%. Many of the institutions who are doing this, they have not taken or they have not advertised for the new admissions or the new entrants, because they are not able to train, they will not able to train the entrants. So that reduction is widely seen in the countries like UK, US, Australia, Canada, Malaysia, Madagascar, Costa Rica, Paraguay. That it is completely, recruitment has been suspended indefinitely. So so we can see this, it's the field oriented, the train, they need to be complete the training, and then only the degree is possible. They have to do the field work also, and during their job also, conservation job also, whenever they are appointed as either conservators or as a researcher in a conservator, or the scientific research they may be carrying out, or they may be doing the job of conservators. So they have to need they have to go to the field and do the field jobs. And because of this pandemics, since it is completely paralyzed transportation, or the people are not, and social distancing also, they have to maintain the social distancing. Because of that, they have to uh, withdraw this plans. Now this conservation career, it has got the 5 different factors that why it is affected. It is not the temporary although it may be the temporary impact, but it will be the implications will be seen for the long term, because this conservation career or is dependent, it is relied completely on the donation and funding. And since the entire world is now it's struggling uh, for the fight for the pandemics or fight for the COVID-19, the all health organizations and everybody is focused on that. So your funds, our government funds are also focused on that, and all industries are shut down. So economy has gone down. So all these will have the impact on the donations and funding which will be given for the conservation. It will come to the second priority, and the first priority will definitely will go to the human uh, benefit or the human health benefit. So because that's how it is. And conservation field generally it is fully dependent on the donation. Then the second aspect is that it is tourism based business model. So second, conservation, we also know that is the national parks and various conservatories, their income is tourism based. Because of this pandemic, tourism is also completely stopped, and hence it is affecting the income, and hence it has become difficult for the these parks to maintain because they are short of funds. Thirdly, that is they are project based contracts. So their jobs are numbered generally the project based. So if the new projects are not taken up on the projects, the number of people are appointed as a contract, as on contract, till the project ends. So as new projects will not be taken up during this period, so number of people are not able will not be able to get the job. Fourthly, that is, it is field-based profession. It is completely field-based position. Even after your appointment, you have to work in field. Before your appointment, you have to train. You should get the train field. So it is completely field-based profession, and it has become very difficult to do this during this pandemic or the lockdown. And the lastly, the internships and the prevalent volunteering. So it is also dependent upon the volunteering the people. Now the volunteering the people which who are volunteering, these again it is related to the funds. So the funds may not be available. Secondly, due to the social distancing, and to maintain, we have to maintain the social distance, and transportation is also stopped. Because of that, they are not able to reach to their projects where the projects are ongoing. The internships also, those who are on internship right now, they are also not able to reach the fields. So now, as we are trying online, the conservation career in the conservation is also trying online, working from home. They are trying to give the online education, but as I said, it is not at all completely online education. It is a practical based, field based education. So it will not be the successful, or they need it. Teacher and students, they are adopting, they are still in the adaptation phase. They are trying to adopt, and that will create a lag, or definitely. Then universities are completely closed during this period, and you will find examinations are cancelled. Then because of all this, the impact is that the new entrants has or the new job avenues are for time being at completely stopped. Research projects are also halted. So which are presently available research projects, they are also at halt, and whatever the readings or whatever the data they have to collect from the field during this period has postponed their research project work also. So this is all what we have seen about the impact on the career in the conservation. So the in coming year, the new more conservative or the people may not turn up towards the conservation as a job for the conservators. So less conservators means that is we are not the reduction in the number of biodiversity conservation efforts. Now the next impact we'll see, that is impact on the wheat market. So all we know that is this pandemic COVID-19 has originated in the China, and uh, that it is the uh, why it has originated in the China, and that we'll see in the show. Just a second. Okay. So the human beings have encroached in the habitats. So because of their encroachment in the habitat, uh, there is a human wildlife conflict has been developed. Therefore, the species are forced to share the space within the humans. The next thing, that is the illegal wildlife trade is going on, and on illegal wildlife trade, the China and the US are at the top uh, things. Then destruction of the biodiversity for the wildlife trade, and all these factors, that is the have speculated to the sources of the zoonotic diseases and the pandemic. These are the resources. So after being suffered for now from so many months together, where there is a realization, and we try to, the scientists have now come up with that this is not the laboratory made virus, but it has come out of, that is the uh, living organism. It is transferred because of all these reasons. It has come to the human beings from the wildlife, and therefore uh, it is affecting the large number of population. And on this realization, that is it has come from the all of you know that it is the bat, it is zoonotic COVID-19 virus. Sorry. It has come to the from bat to the pangolin, and from pangolin it has transferred to the human beings. So the scientists have evolved it, and they have found that the coronavirus shows about the 90% genes matching with that of the pangolin. So the route for the transfer of this virus, it shows the clear-cut route, that is, it is from bat to pangolin and the humans, pangolin to humans. And this pangolin is used widely in the China wet market. So that is what we learn out of this, is that if we don't want to face such pandemic again in the coming future, then we must stop the wildlife consumption and stop destroying the nature, so that the conflict between the wildlife will get their own space and will be separated from the space. So therefore, the one of the positive effect of this is that, at least maybe the temporary, that wildlife protection law in the China has been modified, and they have banned the wildlife trade, or at least for the human consumption. So according to the wildlife protection law in the China, they allow the trade of protected species. Protected species are even traded, and they are also available for the human consumption, which are in the list, IUCN or the CITES list, which are mentioned there. Those species are also uh, traded for the human consumption as per the Chinese government. So Chinese wildlife protection law permits them. So that the example of this is just the trade of leopard, pangolin products are permitted. So which is banned as per the sites. The China has now this is related with why they are not banning it. The another issue is that uh, the China has this trade market, the wet market is costing about the 70 billion euros for the breeding and trade of this, and many laborers and many people are involved this, and they are dependent on their livelihood on this trade. So they are, because of that is also one of the reason that why they are not ready to withdraw this. But finally, that is the standing committee of the NPC, the of the China, finally amended its the WPL, that is wildlife protection law, in February 20. And as per this change, they have put the complete ban on breeding and trade of the wildlife for the human consumption. So how this is the although this decision is temporary, but it need to be finalized afterwards. And looking at the impacts on the severeness of the pandemics, the further policy decisions will be taken in accordance with this. So right now, although it looks temporary, the China has stopped the wildlife trade and breeding business completely. Now the next impact is on ongoing conservation projects and jobs. The people who are already in the conservation field and doing their jobs or pursuing their projects. Now I'll explain this with some certain examples. Some examples are from India, some examples are from outside the India. Now this you can see, these are the field workers which are working in the removing of the Himalayan balsam, physical removal of the Himalayan balsam, which is the invasive weed in UK and which is posing a great problem for the development of the. It is you can see this is this develops in the riverside area, and the right now the procedure which is adopted that they uh, employ the people on the contract basis, and this is the period for which that during the March to May they remove this and because this weed dies in the winter completely. Before that, the removal of the weed is done completely so that the healthy woodland development is to be obtained. Now, this work is completely stopped due to the pandemics and the lockdown because people are not able to reach to this. Then secondly, they have to maintain the social distancing also, and this is definitely not on the priority, and the health becomes the priority. So this project has been stopped, and they have been doing this now for the 5 years continuously, and that this sudden stop in that this work will definitely again upsurge this the Himalayan balsam. Now this Himalayan balsam is an invasive weed which has got the very high potential of the spreading very fast. It grows 7 meters long, and it will affect the native flora and fauna. The native pollinators will be affected, and they will become extinct also in a course of time if this care is not taken off. This Himalayan balsam uh, has entered from the Himalayan foothills of the India and Pakistan into the UK, and it has posed now a great problem for them. So these are then secondly, these balsam seed, the plant produce the seeds. These seeds are sprayed. This is the balsam plant. This sprays up to, these are the pods which you can see. First of all, they will produce the plenty of the pods in numerous pods. These pods, then when they disperse the seed dispersal is up to 7 meters. So this invasive species spreads very fast and it invades the entire area, having the impact or the almost losing the native vegetation. So uh, this is the native, this is the purple. You can see the flower of this, and this is how it is removed. So this activity is completely stopped here, creating posing a problem because of the stop. Now, if it is not container, it will dry. It will get dried, and this dispersal will be there. And then next year again the plants will come up and again invade the area. The second example is of the pygmy hogs. The pygmy hogs, these are the smallest, rarest wild pigs on the planet, which are endangered. Right now, we have only the and critically endangered species. Only 250 mature individuals are there, and therefore conservation of them. The breeding program is taken at Manas National Park in Assam. So this project work, now here you can see it is very small pygmy, the smallest pygmy. This breeding program is in Guwahati and in Manas National Park. At these two places, now there are the few of the pygmy hogs. They are the pregnant and they are expecting their delivery in the month of May. So they require additional feed, and due to the pandemics, due to the lockdown, the people are conservators are not able to reach to them or feed to them. So that is the one of the problem. So you can see that is this is the conservation that we have breeding activities taken up, the project taken up by the people. These are the piglets, which you can see. And but somehow the conservators in that area have managed, and they have started feeding them with the fruits and vegetables which are available from the nearby tribals. Because these tribals, due to the lockdown, they are also not able to sell it out. So they have taken that, and but still it is having slightly impact on the proper feeding of this. And if they are starved, then you will find that the resultant uh, result will be the reduction in their it will affect the breeding program. Now the second one, that is the bracken fungus, the Pteridinium. This one is the bracken fungus. It is also called as the poisonous fungus, uh, which is again the invasive weed of the Europe, in the Channel Island of the Europe. It spreads very fast. It will kill all the native plants, and even not the plants, that all the food chain will be disturbed by this. Uh, the birds, worms, invertebrates, which are dependent on this link with this food chain, they will have the impact on this. And this very fast, causing the impact on us. So you will find this uh, warbler, this bird, which is the native bird, which is not there. Then the worms will be affected. Then secondly, you will find the heather plants, which are the native plants, which are the fruit yielding plants, on which the number of pollinators, the native pollinators, as well as birds, the are seen the working. These all will become, they get completely, they will disappear because of the invasiveness of this bracken ferns. These are the plants. And then the orchids, these are the which are very rare orchids, which are found in the these bee orchids, or other type of a variety of the orchids also vanishes because of the development of this orchid. So this is also the problem. This is also now the clearing of this has been stopped, and because of that, again in coming year we'll find it will be we'll be losing some of the species in that area. Now, increased human encroachment in certain areas in Santa project. You'll find this is the Chilika Lake, Odisha's Chilika Lake. It is Asia's largest brackish water lagoon, and where now that is the Irrawaddy dolphins have been observed, and they are conserved. 150 individuals so far are now synthesis in this aquatic area. And here now the conservators are facing problem that they here prawn culture is widely done by the local people, and they have freed now a lot of from prawn culture. The conservators are doing that, but because of the lockdown, the human encroachment will prevail, because the conservators may not be able to have the controlling this people, and they will encroach, and the prawn culture will proceed, and that will affect definitely the population of this dolphins. So see, this is the prawn culture, the native people which they are doing in that area, and creating the disturbances in the aquatic environment. And because of this pandemics, they have stopped the large boats, because they have to maintain this social distancing also. So only the small, this activity is stopped. The patrolling activity has been stopped, and so they are not able to control over the encroachment. Now, in certain areas, the areas which open or nearby, the people also started encroaching the forest areas, or the poaching activity has been increased, because the loss of controlling forest rangers due to the pandemic or the lockdown, they are not able to uh, do the patrolling over in these areas. You'll find the fire forest has been observed in certain areas. It is just the example of the in Karnataka. If you take the in Karnataka, in only single state, you have the 10,000 field workers are there, which are working in the field. And so now this 10,000, all of them, they are not able to reach on their duty. So they are not able to perform the duty during the period of this pandemic. There are 5 tiger reserves, there are 30 wildlife sanctuaries and 15 conservation reserves. So all these are managed by the field workers, and these field workers, due to the uh, non-transport availability or due to the lockdown period, all of them, the few of them are able to reach to the fields, and therefore this have increased at the peripheral area or the certain areas of the forest that increase, like the fire forest or even the poaching. So the poaching, that is in certain areas, the people were caught with the guns for. They certainly, these forest officers, they are doing uh, trying to control it over the GPS receiver, but GPS receiver is not enough for standing the activity or the poaching activity or the fire or the threat. They cannot stop the threat over this GPS. They just can locate the position. To take the action, they have to reach to that area for taking the action and to stop that activity. So therefore this sitting at home, they cannot control it. Now, the next impact, we'll see that it is the ongoing conservation, that is in zoological parks. Wherever the zoological parks are there in we know that in our country many of the zoological parks are there, and in that zoological parks, due to the stop restriction on the transportation, the zoo animals have been starved. They are in areas, if they are getting sick, they are not getting the medical aid. Medical aid is not reaching to them. Then the people who are human friendly, sorry, animals which are human friendly, they may be missing the human attention. So that is also one of the impact. The animals like gorilla, which are human, where they want the human to visit and interact with them, so they are missing the human attention. Then thirdly, that is some of the shy organisms like pandas. The pandas in the ocean park, they have seen that is, they have used their uh, this pandemic, the most of their privacy, and they have used it, and it has been, the result has been seen that these pandas which are in the ocean park of Hong Kong, uh, they have been observed the pregnant after 10 years. So this is one of the positive impact on that. They utilize, they got, because being the very private or the no interference of the human visitors, this happened. Now, the wildlife tourism, it is already stopped completely. So it has got a lot of impacts. The tribals, their livelihood is dependent on this tourism. Similarly, the maintenance of the conservator, the funds for the conservation also come from the tourism, and the funds for the conservation, it's 0.% of the global GDP is from the tourism. Uh, the wildlife tourism supports about 21.8 million jobs, and it supports the ecotourism. It's giving the livelihood to the many people. So that has been affected by badly during this pandemic. So we can see there are no more tourisms, and in upcoming time also for a long period, the tourism will remain affected. Okay, so this tribals will be also their livelihood uh, will be also affected because of the tourism will be affected. So with this, we come to the end and we'll come to the conclusion that what we find is the first impact of on the biodiversity is the training, recruiting of the new entrants as a conservator is affected completely negatively. It has been stopped by many countries. Many NGOs are not ready to fund for this, at least for this year. Then biodiversity is benefiting because it has reduced the human activity. It has impacted climate, brought some positive changes in the climate. That is beneficial, but it may be the temporary. research is disrupted for the period, that is the certain time bound data collection which is there, that is definitely affected and that is disrupted completely. Enforcement weakened, but the threats are not weakened. So because of that, you find encroachment in different areas, or the forest fires, or maybe the poaching like activities have increased, not everywhere, in certain areas and at certain places. Ongoing conservation projects which are right now ongoing, they are also affected due to the lockdown and the pandemic. They are negatively affected because people are, conservators are not able to reach to the to complete their project. Delay in CBD COP meetings that will lead a delay in implementation and framing new policies for coming decade. So they have to frame the policies for the coming decade first and review the achievement of the previous targets. After that, they have to frame the new and then implementation. So everything will be delayed. So that will also have a negative impact on the biodiversity. Ongoing conservation projects are definitely affected. Okay, so this all is forcing to rethink us and initiate the stringent action to stop the wildlife trade completely across the globe in order to prevent such one more pandemic to come. So that is the lesson we have to take from this. This effects what I have talked, this may be the temporary, but that it is for the long period and definitely it will replicate in the future also. And they will leave the long impact or the impressions in the future biodiversity. This is the other way we can take it this way, that this pandemic, to take a lesson, is that we have to take the opportunity for mankind to think, rethink and remember and understand that the human well-being, if we want the human welfare, then it lies in the biodiversity, maintaining the healthy ecosystem and the resilient ecosystem. The ecosystem is resilient, and that we have it is if ecosystem is maintained healthy, if biodiversity is use of biodiversity is made sustainable, then the human health will also be in good stead. So with this, we end the topic. And as yesterday we have seen that this is the logo for uh, this year biodiversity. It is a puzzle piece, pieces. These four pieces which are amalgamated that we have seen. This logo has been released by the uh, CBD Secretariat uh, on the commemoration of this International Biodiversity Day. Released in 6 languages. Uh, it was available, and then they have made it that this in Marathi language. I have created this and it is posted on that site. So it can just have a link on this. It's the logo which you can see. It is released by the Secretariat of CBD in 6 different languages. And this puzzle pieces and all the theme is given over here. And in different languages, it is contributed by the different people. So this is in Marathi. This is contribution. I have contributed this in Marathi language.
कंप्लीट करना है बंद करना पंखा सुबह कर दो
Okay. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Any queries? One by one, you can. We have it is open for the discussion. Any query, any question?
Hello.
Yes.
Very nice initiative by you. This was a very excellent talk. Just I want to ask that, do you feel that the government might have taken the action for conservation of this biodiversity during lockdown period by considering the job of researchers or biodiversity conservation as an emergency service?
At certain places it might have happened, but now all of we are in a big grief of that as we are busy in, and focused on the human health first. So the biodiversity, it has become the secondary priority.
Okay, okay.
That is human nature also. We are so
Right.
selfish. We first focus on ourselves. We want our security. Then secondly comes the security of the other resources which we
Other
are.
resources. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you all for hearing me patiently and bearing with me. If you have faced any problem, the technical problem, not here able to audible hearing properly or something, that some lags. Suggestions are welcome so that I'll be able to include. This is my first time online presentation. May not be very good. So suggestions are welcome so can improve myself next time. Yes. Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Madam, there is a chat box. You open the chat box. Some questions are raised by on chat box. So you can do the answers.
Yeah. I'll see.
Yeah, please.
So every fact is useful to do with the model with the problem. Yeah, in future that is used and all that, definitely the shortage of the fund will be the problem for them. So that is what I'm saying, that is the what we are trying to conserve the things that is going to be affected. Right now our focus is for that only. So we have not the time to think over that. First we are busy in, recovering from the pandemic. Yes, any question? Any question? So we'll end meeting. You can leave meeting now. I'll end meeting.
Hello,
Is there any?
ma'am.
Yeah. See this wildlife. That is if you're talking about in zoo or zoo. Is this feed wildlife from star in? Is there any way to see feed? Starving. See, this is they're starving is because of the transportation was stopped completely, or there was a restriction of the transportation. Although the government has declared that is the food and the necessary important things can be transported. In certain areas, it has happened that the food couldn't reach. Yes, Urmila ma'am, humans are only the thing the responsible for the loss of biodiversity. That is well established. Human beings are the most selfish animal over this earth on this earth. Yes, there will be the quiz in the evening like yesterday, 5:30. Latest updates of the biodiversity progress, you can check the site of CBD. They give the regular update what is happening on the different policies and what are the implementations, what happened in the meetings and everything. All updates are there on the site of the CBD, Conservation or Biodiversity Convention. That is the site. You can go and type CBD. Greshma, I'm answered your question. Any question? Thank you all. Greshma, on Telegram group, I'll give you the links for the sites where you can get the information about the biodiversity progress. You will get the feedback form on 25th when your certificates will be given. The students who want to know anything about that, somebody asked conservator career if you want to take. Regarding that also, I'll try to post the links or some guiding links on your Telegram group. Yes, all results of a poster and a photo as well as video will be declared on 25th. And your certificates also will be given on 25th. And along with that, you have to fill up the feedback form. You can also give the suggestions for the improvement. Your frank opinion if you anything which was very wrong or needing to be improved. Yes, Afrin. Yes, you can leave. If you have any query, you can ask. Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you. You can leave the meeting. Meeting is over now. Yes, any question? Yes, sir, I'll try. Red data list on Telegram group. Are you there on the Telegram group?